Hi everyone, I'm Denise. Welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot. This reading is for Anne. She wanted to know, will Jerry Fallwell Jr. recover from his fall from grace? And I had to add in this lifetime, because that, of course at some point in some lifetime we all recover. And we could look at every lifetime as being a little bit of a fall from grace, actually. But anyway, he has a bigger fall from grace. So I'm going to do a 7-card spread on him. And then there's 2 other questions, and I have those decks all shuffled and ready to go to delve further in, because it's a 3-part question, or 3 questions actually. Okay, so for Jerry Falwell Jr., the forces in motion, his challenges, his real feelings, what he's actually doing, his karma for this situation, his future, and the outcome. Okay, so we have the Queen of Swords for the forces that are in motion. His challenge is the King of Pentacles reversed. That makes perfect sense. The Knight of Pentacles is his real feelings. What he's actually doing, we have the 5 of Swords. His karma is the Fool reversed. His future is the 2 of Swords. And the outcome is the Hanged Man, or his outcome is the Hanged Man reversed. Okay, so with the Queen of Swords, this is the law. It's a feminine law, but I'm not getting that it's any certain specific attorney. I feel like, well, maybe you guys would have to let me know. This could be his wife divorcing him. This could be, but then again, she was in on the whole scandal, right? It was like a third person. It was like a, kind of voyeur type of situation where she was getting it on with some younger guy and he watched. So, I mean, that's a major distortion there. And especially when you're supposedly in this position of moral high ground. So, the Queen of Swords sees through all the garbage. She's gone through a lot. It's the card of divorcees and widows and women who have gone through a lot of emotional turmoil, and they see clearly forward. So I guess what the message is for him is that his way forward is he needs to see clearly. He needs to get into that place of, perception and be independent in his own thinking. This could also be that this could have to do with his wife, is that maybe she is becoming more independent. But I think on a bigger, just a bigger, like, I don't know if you'd really say global, but on a bigger level, people see him clearly. People see what was really going on. And now the truth is out there. It's out there. There's no hiding it. So there's a higher level of perception on him. Now, what's crossing him, or what the challenge is on this, now that we see the truth, is he's just been in it for the money. The King of Pentacles reversed, that's a dude that's just doing what he does for the money. It doesn't have anything to do with his, connection to God. It's not at all. It's the opposite. So this has to do too with somebody being really controlling and domineering. So maybe the bigger message here is that he was the one maybe there's even some sadomasochism in here, like maybe some, like he wanted to watch the wife dominate this other guy that she had sex with, and he wanted to watch it, but he was the one controlling the whole show. So on one level, it has to do with money and taking in money from the church and all the the donors, and I guess something with university, Liberty University. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe this card is about Liberty University. But I have another deck all shuffled and ready to go for that question. But that's possible that that's what this is about. I don't know if there are women in high places in Liberty University, or this has to do with them seeing him clearly now, and they've made decisions on how they're going to move forward in the future based on that truth that has come in. So it's not good for him. I don't see any cards here to indicate that he is going to, overcome this fall from grace. He wasn't in grace in the first place. He wasn't. Doesn't look to me like he ever has been. So his real feelings is he's just going to plod along, and he's going to just keep trying to hold on to his position, and he's going for the money. But what he's actually doing is trying to just win. And this is a major defeat for him. He's created a defeat for his life, his profession. This is the card of warring. It's an awful, awful card. It has to do, besides defeat, it's about, betrayal and winning at all costs, and it's humiliation. He has humiliated himself. But it's also a card of rape. So that's really alarming. His karma with the Fool reversed, he doesn't get a new beginning. He does not get a new beginning until he overcomes this. Now, of course, anybody can overcome anything, but it takes an awful lot of deep soul work to free up your soul so that it's right again with your spirit. The spirit and the soul are not the same thing. The spirit is pure, but the soul is layered and layered and layered with crusty substance of false beliefs and lies and deceptions and, issues to heal. I don't see that he's done that work. So that's interesting. There's probably a lot of repressed sexual energy that, is life force, but because he's repressed it, it's coming out sideways in ways that are not healthy. Because this is what he's doing. This is awful. On any level. It's a deep, deep inner conflict. And it has to do with needing to be in control and having dominance and power over someone else. So this has to do, I think, with his wife, with the university, with the man that they were involved with, the threesome, or him watching, her with someone else. So he's got a lot of responsibility in this situation. But with the Fool reversed, it's his karma for him being so reckless and, taking such a risk. And this has to do with the university. So I believe that that's what the Queen of Swords is about, is Liberty University. His future, he's needing to make a decision, but this is also the stalemate card. And then the outcome on, to him based on this whole, does he recover or not? I don't think so. With the Hanged Man reverse, he's stuck because there's not a surrender. These two cards are both indecision. And this is major, well, they're both delay, because the decision to not make a decision is still a decision, but it keeps you stuck. And so he's stuck. Now, I'm not saying people need to like force themselves to make a decision. I'm saying you go inside and you take your time and you weigh all the options, and you know that there's always a disadvantage with every advantage, but what is the right thing to do? Well, he hasn't done the right thing, and who knows what he's been doing for years, but it looks to me like it has to do with money and power and dominance. And the outcome for him is a major delay. So because I narrowed it down to will he recover, from his fall in this lifetime, I would say no. It's no. The answer is no. Okay, so now, second part of the question is, will a lot of students quit Liberty University because of him? So I'll just go with 3 cards for this question. Will a lot of students be leaving or quitting? So we have the Ace of Swords reversed. So they don't like this lack of truth and transparency. And the Knight of Cups, yeah, they're completely disillusioned. And then the Death card. So yeah, there's going to be big change. Oops, hold on, let me turn this light off up here. There we go. Hopefully there's no glare. These are shiny cards. But so just to reiterate, with the Ace of Swords reversed, there's a lack of clarity. It's confusing. So this situation at Liberty University has been very confusing for them. And they're trying to decide, do they want to follow this guy? Because with the Knight of Cups, reversed, he's a fraud. This is a card of fraud when it's reversed. Now, with the Death card, of course, nothing ever really dies. It just changes form. But this is a big change. And because of all the other cards that we got for him that I, pushed away, it doesn't look like he's going to make the change in this lifetime. Liberty University is going to have to make the change for themselves. And because we had the Queen of Swords down here, and I believe that was for them, they're going to go in the right direction and make the big change. But yeah, a lot of students are going to leave. A lot of students are going to say, no, I'm out of here because of the fraud. At first they're confused, but then they see the fraud, and then they're going to go, oh, I'm out of here. I can't do this. So yes, I think it will hurt at first, but then there can be a rebirth for Liberty University, and I can read on that later if you want, Anne. Okay, so now this spread is for will the churches, I know your question, Anne, was will the mega churches ever have to pay taxes, but I crossed that out and put all churches, because if they pass a law for mega churches, it goes with all churches. And so, whether or not they're tax exempt. So the question is, will the churches ever have to pay taxes? Okay. Will there be some kind of a law? It's this card right here. Okay, so I can always add on, but so far I'm saying it's a decision. With the Two of Swords again, it's a decision, it's a choice. With the Page of Swords, I get there's some kind of an inquiry. That's a challenging word for me to pronounce. Inquiry. Inquiring minds want to know. There's a wanting to. This cast can be about laws as well. Yeah, the swords have to do with laws. If it were reversed, it would be like, like all talk and no actions. But because it's straight up, it's like, yeah, they might be thinking about that. Especially universities that are tied together with the churches. Because that's what they do, all these it's all together. It goes all together. It's like a church and a university. And then with the Nine of Wands, well, that's like, you know, there's a battle. There's a battle there. There's a battle there. Yeah, there's a battle, and they just keep trying to, you know, to take a stand, to have that, to hold on to that position where they have that. But how will it eventually end for them? Moving away, a transition, a big transition. Interesting. Yeah, and then we get the actual donations. Oh yeah, okay, so here's the message. So the answer is yes. The answer is yes. The process will be is that major decisions need to be made, and there will be a lot of, you know, like powwowing, a lot of research and investigation that shows the abuse and the hoarding, and how they were doing it just for their own selfish means. And then there will be a move away from the whole being able to write these donations off, or to be tax exempt. Because this is a card of, you know, taxes and giving and receiving, donations, things like that. So it might be that there's a whole move away, eventually a complete move away from even taking in donations. Because, you know, dark money can come into these churches. That happens. And, you know, there can be a lot of problems with that. So there can be a transition away from donations in the future. And then there's nothing for them to write off, or they can't be tax exempt, I don't believe. So I think the answer is yes on that, but that's something to watch for. That's a really interesting question. Okay, thanks you guys, take care.